Hi. So I'm going to talk today a little bit about the new navigation area block that's been added to Gutenberg very recently. And you might be asking yourself, why on earth do we need a navigation area block? Well, the main reason is we need to be able to preserve navigations across different themes. Now, if you think about it, when you set up your site and you have a theme, you create a navigation, then you switch theme, you don't want to lose that navigation. After all, it's mainly content. And the theme should really deal with just presentational aspects. So really what you want are your navigation items pulled across into the new theme's presentation for that navigation. So the way we're doing that is very similar to how classic menus operate for menu locations. So if we switch across to a classic theme, which I will do right now with 2021 Classic, and we see the menu screen. And what we have is a series of locations here, and it's called theme location. And each location has an assigned, well, it doesn't, but it could do, an assigned menu. Okay, so let's put main menu there and another menu there, and we can save that. Okay, so what are these theme locations? Well, they're defined in PHP, and basically what they are is you're saying this area of my template is a place where a navigation can go. And by the way, it's a primary area. And these areas, or a secondary area. And these names are completely arbitrary. You can call them whatever you want. You could call it Dave's area or Flibblewibble area or whatever you want to call it. The point is that the theme developer defines and designates a certain part of their theme template as being an area where navigation can be assigned and inserted. And that's quite flexible. It's not perfect. It doesn't always work across theme switch because it relies on matching these strings across themes and they're not always used consistently. But we need a similar mechanic in our new world of full site editing. And the way we've looked at doing that is through the navigation area block. And it's been added in this PR very recently. And the gist, as Adam says here, is that themes define navigation areas. If theme A's areas match theme B's areas, then we can reuse the navigation items, which are saved, as you probably recall now, in a navigation custom post type. We can reuse them, which means when you switch themes, as long as the theme you're switching to has a matching navigation area, it will pull through any nav items that are associated with that area, which means when you switch theme, you get your navigation items pulled across with you. Difficult to explain in the abstract, which is why I'm going to attempt a quick demo. And as with all demos, doing them recorded or live, it might go a bit wrong, and there's still work to do on the UI, but we can give it a demo. Okay, so here is our 2021 block theme. I've removed the navigation that comes out of the box here, and what I'm going to do is add, there it is, navigation area. Navigation area has now been added, and as you can see, inside navigation area automatically inserted is a navigation block. So a navigation block can now be used by, for example, a theme developer to configure attributes such as, I want my typography to be extra large, and I want my color of my, this has changed, color of my links to be like this. And that's a bit horrible, isn't it? Let's just do white on black for now, or yellow on black. That's more accessible, isn't it? So you can configure the stylistic attributes, and that's fine. They're saved to the navigation block, which is fine. But we haven't got any items here yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some items, and we're going to call this Dave's Demo Main Menu, because that definitely hasn't been used before. So I'm going to create that menu. And what happens now is any items I add here, which I'm going to do now, I think I'm going to get rid of this large size because I don't really like that in a minute. But so there we go. I've added 3 items and you can see them here. These 3 items will now be associated with this navigation area. So what we need to do is tell the navigation area what it represents. Is it a primary area? Is it a secondary area? Is it a tertiary area? Tertiary area even. And as you can see here or here, you can choose from primary, secondary or tertiary. And these 3 items are provided out of the box with WordPress, and it's an attempt to codify conventions around assigning navigation areas names, basically. We don't want to assign them as header navigation or footer navigation or sidebar navigation, because that it is coupling the data to a presentational thing, which might change. I mean, for example, my theme might not have a sidebar. So if I use sidebar as my area, it's going to be confusing when I switch to a new theme. So primary, secondary, and tertiary are like a hierarchical, presentationally agnostic terms that we can use, and we've attempted to codify that there. So we're saying, right, okay, this navigation area is primary, okay, because it's in the header. That sort of makes sense visually, but it also doesn't tie me down to having it in the header. I could put it somewhere else. So that's great. So now I've got these items, which are saved to the custom post type navigation, are associated with this navigation area, and this navigation block controls things like the styling. Okay, so it's all nicely decoupled. Now I can save that, and you can see is the breakdown of what I'm about to save. So I'm about to save a new menu that I've created. I'm about to save the navigation area called primary, and I'm also going to save the changes to the template part, which is header. Click save. Wonderful, that's all saved. Brilliant, fantastic. But what we've all been waiting for, of course, is showing how these items are preserved on theme switch. So I have a demo here of Quadrat theme, which is also a block-based theme. I'm going to switch to that theme now. I'm going to go across to the editor, and we'll just wait a second for it to load. And what has happened here? What can we see? Well, I'll tell you what we can see. I went into the Quadrat theme previous to recording this demo, added a navigation area, and that navigation area was given the primary designation here. And therefore, when I switched theme, the navigation area was able to look up the items that I'd associated in my previous theme with the primary navigation area and pull them across. So this is really, really similar to how menu locations work in classic menus WordPress. You define an area, the theme developer or author defines an area for the navigation, and then defines the items that go, or the navigation that goes into that area. And then when you switch to a new theme, as long as that theme has a matching area, your items will be automatically pulled across. Notice, interestingly, how the presentation in this theme is completely different to the one in 2021. Remember 2021, I set the extra large font size. Quadrat doesn't have that extra large font size defined on its navigation block, which remember controls the presentation, and therefore we get the normal presentation that Quadrat expects. So it's nice that the data of the navigation, i.e. the items, are nicely decoupled from the way those items are presented on a per theme basis. And I think that's really, really powerful concept. It is quite a lot to think about, but it does work quite nicely. Now, ideally, I'd like to be able to show you where this is saved. Let's see. Yes, I can show you that. Here is my database, and if you look at this, now don't get excited, this database is only a development database. It gets deleted every day. It's a local, so you can't do anything funny with this. But if we look in options and we look for FSE navigation areas, we'll see that in there, what we have is effectively an object where the key is primary, which is the navigation area, and the value is the post ID of the navigation post type that is associated with that area. So if I had another one that was secondary, I might have a different navigation associated with secondary, and it would say secondary ID 53 or whatever. In this case, we've got a navigation post type of ID 24, which is associated with the navigation area primary. And that's how we can, when we switch themes, WordPress can know to pull in the right navigation items. And I can prove that because if we switch to here in the appearance, we've got a new item, which is navigation menus. And these are the navigations I've created. And as you can see here, Dave's demo main menu was the one we've just created. And if we have a look here, I'm going to pull this down just so you can see it briefly. 1 second. Bear with me. Can we see that? Post ID is 24. And as we just saw in the database, primary is associated, 24 post-study 24, navigation post-study 24 is associated with primary. So that is how it works. And we can't actually see, you can't really edit these items at the moment. There's still work going on here. It'd be nice to be able to sort of be able to deassociate a navigation menu from an area if you needed to do that. But we can't do that yet. But nonetheless, I think this is a really powerful feature. It's been something that's been a pain in the navigation block for a long time. The inability to reuse your navigations across themes was a major problem. And with this work, we are finally, in theory, able to do that. And yeah, kudos to everyone who worked on that. It's not been an easy problem to solve, and I don't think it's fully solved even now. But yet, kudos to Adam, definitely, and also Daniel Richards, who's been working very, very hard on this. But I will also say there's a lot of other people also involved here, who've been reviewing, testing, discussing. Everyone in the who's been involved in the navigation block has contributed towards this. So it's a real community effort. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what people think about this this feature. It's a big change. It's a big step for the navigation block in WordPress. So please do go and give it a test. It's in the latest Gutenberg plugin right now. You can download that trunk and get your block themes active and work on that. I will also say, I didn't demo it in this theme, but if you switch from a classic theme, which has menus defined, classic menus, it will actually automatically import those menus for you, which is pretty useful when you're switching from a classic theme to a block theme. So yeah, give that a spin. Again, I wouldn't recommend on a production site right now because there's still bugs that we're fixing in the run up to WordPress 5.9. But by all means, spin up a test site, download the latest WordPress and activate the latest Gutenberg plugin, and you can test out the navigation area block. Okay, thanks very much for listening. Bye.